Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful to be here, and the work that you do and that the Aspen Institute does around these issues is so important. So it's really great to be in conversation with you. And when I think about like, why did I write this book and why now? I've actually been working on this. I started this book the minute I finished the first book. That really was looking at time pressure and really through the lens of gender and trying to understand why is it so difficult to combine work and care, particularly in the United States, particularly for women, for any worker with care responsibilities. Why does it feel like an either or choice? Either you have good work or you have a life. Why can't we have a both and kind of choice? How can we have good work and a good life? And so, I finished that first book that was looking at, work and gender and leisure time and why leisure is sort of a dirty word in the United States, why we think it's stupid and silly. And I was so convinced after doing all of the research for that book that so much of the source of overwhelm, so much of the source of what drives feeling like we have to work all the time really comes from our overwork culture. That we have, sort of two things going on. We don't have the sort of the guardrails in policy or workplace practice that would really prioritize having good work and time for life. That what we have instead is sort of a no holds barred, free for all when it comes to work, and we've come to really value not just good work, not just hard work, but overwork. And I was really struck by so much of the research that shows how we reward workers. Academics will call the ideal worker is someone who will put work before everything else, come in early, stay late, or if you're in a digital setting, log on early, send emails in the middle of the night. If you're in an hourly setting or a service worker setting, that you're on call, always available, ready to, or the expectation is that you will drop everything, or that you're sort of a widget. You have no life. You're just ready to be available to go to work. And so I really wanted to understand, well, how did we get here? What is it costing us? What are the consequences? Is this what's really required? There's this, I encountered this very strong belief that, well, we're a powerful economy, we're a big country. This is just the way it is. This is just what you have to do in order to be productive or in order to be creative. Or, you'll have a lot of our cultural messages. Think about Elon Musk. No one's ever changed the world in 40 hours a week. In the tech world, lots of sort of CEOs bragging about 90 hours a week and loving it, or falling asleep under the desk at night. Finance industry, same thing. Working through the night, and that these long hours are seen as sort of a badge of honor, and that's what we reward. That's what we consider good. And I just thought, well, A, is that true? And B, if that's the case, then it will be difficult for workers with care responsibilities to ever be able to compete fairly, to ever have any kind of equal opportunity at work, for anyone really to have kind of a good life, a good quality of life. And I have to say, that's what really drives me, is how do we create opportunity for a good life for all people, an equitable life. And I'm very focused on gender equality and care. How do we make sure that that happens for women who still shoulder the bulk of care responsibilities, and for really any worker with care responsibilities, which, you ask what sort of surprised me. One of the things that surprised me, there's, again, this cultural narrative that it's mainly women who would be affected. I found a Harvard Business School survey that shows that more than 3/4 of all workers have some form of care responsibility. Oh, wow. And let's not forget that we all have to care for ourselves. So the reason I wanted to write the book is really to interrogate, do we need to work this way? Is this the best way to work? And I can tell you the short answer is no. We don't need to work this way. B, this is not the best way to work. And it's really costing us a lot in our health, in our quality of life, in our relationships, and this is our precious one and only life. And work is one of the three great arenas of what you need for a good life: work, love and connection and care, and time for play and joy and leisure. And so for us to be able to have the good life with that kind of rich and fullness in all of those areas, we really need to get work right. And so that's why I wanted to write it. And I went in search, what surprised me is that I went in search of people, the change agents, people who are really trying to make not just individual change, but systemic change. Because that's the, I guess, the last thing I'll say. I could go on forever. I know I've just written a book, and so I'll stop. But so much of the way that we look at how and why, or how we could change work, tends to be very individualistic. Whether you're a policymaker or you look at a lot of the business literature, it's like, well, if you're burned out, then you need to rest more, or you need to be better about setting boundaries. And that all of that is true, but that is not the only reason why people are burned out. And there are systems and systemic reasons, and there are systems changes that we need to be thinking about. So I like to think about focusing on personal transformation and systems change, systems evolution.